Hi guys, for today's math lesson, we are going to learn about liquid volume. As always, let's start with some definitions. First of all, you need to pay attention to the distinction between volume and liquid volume, because they are two different things. Volume is the amount of space an object takes up, and liquid volume is the amount of space a liquid takes up. So volume by itself has to do with solids, and liquid volume has to do with liquids. Another term that we want to pay attention to is capacity. Capacity is how much a container can hold. Capacity is related to volume and to liquid volume because how much a container can hold, that could mean how much of a liquid it can hold, how much of a solid it can hold, but it's not the same thing. And sometimes you will hear people sort of use capacity and volume interchangeably to mean the same thing, but they're not the same thing. For what we do in third grade, we are going to focus on liquid volume. So, what units do we use to measure liquid volume? We have US customary units that we mostly use in the United States. For measuring liquids, we can use teaspoons, tablespoons, cups, pints, quarts, gallons. If you cook at home with your parents or maybe on your own, like my son likes to cook on his own, you've probably used teaspoons and tablespoons and so on. And then there are metric units. There is the milliliter and the liter. And if you notice these abbreviations over here for the milliliter and the liter, the milliliter is ml and the liter is L. And the reason the L is capitalized, I bet you can guess, is so that it doesn't look like a 1 when you write it. It doesn't look like the number 1. All right, so we are going to, once again, we are going to focus on metric, just like we did when we talked about mass. We're going to focus on the metric units for liquid volume as well. So for the milliliter and the liter, what are those two units? Like what do they mean? So let's think about the milliliter first. The milliliter is the same as or equivalent to about 20 drops of water. So if you think about what amount of water 20 drops of water would be, that is approximately a milliliter. And this picture here of a spoon with a little bit of tea, that's about a milliliter. That's about 1 milliliter. Now, and this is a teaspoon, like a regular kitchen teaspoon. If I had a teaspoon that's full of liquid, right, and I can't put any more liquid on it because it would spill off, that's about 5 milliliters. So you can kind of get the idea of what a milliliter is. It's not a whole lot of liquid. It's a little bit of liquid. So now let's talk about a liter. 1 liter is actually 1,000 milliliters. So 1 liter is the same as this bottle of water. And I did a little close-up here so you could see it actually has the measurement on it, 1 liter of water. So if you can imagine this, and guys, there's different size water bottles, right? If you think there's really big water bottles and there's really small water bottles, so not every water bottle is a liter. So if you have water bottles at your house, you can look at them and see, but think about, this is a good size water bottle. That's about a liter of water. Here's another picture to kind of give you a good idea of what a liter is. If you look at these soda bottles, this picture of a Canada Dry ginger ale, this picture is a liter bottle. This bottle is a liter. This is a 2-liter bottle of Coke. And then this big giant bottle is a 3-liter bottle of Pepsi. So it gives you an idea of what a liter is. So you probably have seen, this is the most common one, this 2-liter bottle. And it gives you kind of an idea of what a liter is, like how much liquid that is, right? Okay. So, what tools can we use to measure liquid volume? So we can use a graduated cylinder and a beaker. Those are probably two items you've seen in science lab. And we can also use an eyedropper, because remember we said a milliliter is about 20 drops of water. So just like we did yesterday for mass, when we thought about what would be the best unit, a gram or a milligram, to measure the mass of something, we are going to think about the same type of task for different amounts of liquid. What would be the best measurement for that liquid? Would it be better to measure with a milliliter or a liter? So let's look at a few examples. So if I wanted to measure the amount of soup in this pot, would I be measuring with milliliters or liters? What do you think would be the best measurement? Hopefully you chose liters. Measuring the soup in the pot drop by drop, I mean, think about that. That would take a long time. That would be kind of time consuming, and it just makes more sense to measure that in liters. Because pots are, those are big. If you make soup, you usually make a big pot of soup. So a liter would be a better unit of measurement. All right, what about a bottle of nail polish? Would that be more appropriate to measure in milliliters or liters? Hopefully you said milliliters. Bottles of nail polish are small, and the nail polish contained inside, right? That's what we actually measuring, is the nail polish inside. So the nail polish inside, that's not a lot of nail polish inside a small bottle. So we would be measuring that nail polish in milliliters. Let's try one more. This is a bottle of vanilla. So if I wanted to know how much vanilla is inside the bottle, would I be measuring the vanilla in milliliters or liters? And hopefully, maybe if you've seen with your parents, if you've ever cooked with anybody in your house, you know that bottles of vanilla are also pretty small. They usually, because it doesn't take a lot of vanilla to flavor something. You just need a few drops or a few milliliters maybe. So milliliters would be the best unit of measurement for the bottle of vanilla. All right, and then again, just like we did with our mass in yesterday's lesson, we also need to be able to estimate volume, liquid volume. When given an amount of liquid, we need to be able to think, well, what's a reasonable estimate for this amount of liquid? What answer makes sense? So let's do some examples of that. So here we have the tea in this cup. So what would be a reasonable estimate for the tea in the cup, for the volume of the tea in the cup? So my choices are 5 liters, 2 milliliters, 250 milliliters, and 2 liters. So just like we did yesterday, think about some answer choices that you know right now you could get rid of. So hopefully you realized that 5 liters and 2 liters are completely unreasonable answers, because that 2-liter bottle of Pepsi or Coke that we saw in the previous screen, the Coke was the one that was 2 liters, that was a lot of Coke in that bottle, and there's no way that this teacup is anywhere near that much. So 2 liters and 5 liters are not appropriate answer choices. So then out of what's left, 2 milliliters or 250 milliliters, what's the best choice? So it can't be 2 milliliters, because 2 milliliters, if 1 milliliter is only 20 drops, then 2 milliliters would be about 40 drops. So my best answer choice is the 250 milliliters. That makes the most sense out of the choices that I have here. Okay, let's look at another example. What about the water in the bathtub? So water in the bathtub, What choices straight up have to go? Hopefully you said 65 milliliters and 500 milliliters have to go because that's just, drops of water. That's not a lot of water. 65 milliliters and 500 milliliters, that's not very much, right? Bathtubs are big and they hold a lot of water. So now I'm left with 300 liters and 3 liters. So out of these choices, what makes the most sense? Well, we just saw that picture in the previous slide of the 3-liter bottle of Pepsi. I think that this tub is going to hold way more water than that. So the most reasonable answer is 300 liters. So I hope you're seeing, guys, that you kind of have to go through a process of elimination to figure out what's the best, most reasonable answer. Because you're not going to need to know it exactly. Let's do one more example. Here is a bottle of shampoo. So our choices are 10 milliliters, 50 milliliters, 7 liters, and 1 liter. So I know right off the bat that I want to get rid of this first answer, 10 milliliters, because that's just like drops of shampoo. That's just a tiny little bit of shampoo. Remember, the picture of the full teaspoon was about 5 milliliters. So that means 2 teaspoons would be about 10 milliliters. So this is way more than 2 teaspoons of shampoo, right? And I also think I can absolutely very quickly get rid of this 7 liters because 7 liters is a ton of shampoo. I have never seen a bottle of shampoo that was 7 liters. So, because think about that, guys. Think about the 3-liter bottle of Pepsi that we saw, the amount of Pepsi that was in that bottle. And then it would be 2 of those plus some more. Have you ever seen a bottle of shampoo that big? I have not. That would be a lot. Okay, so now I'm left with 50 milliliters and 1 liter. So what makes the most sense for this bottle of shampoo? Which answer makes the most sense? What do you think? I think the best answer is this 1 liter. That answer is the most reasonable of my choices. Okay, so that is the end of today's lesson. And you guys are going to do some practice just like you did yesterday. And you're doing a great job. So keep it up. Bye.